yet, I think, are electronic newsletters. They're so cheap, they're so easy to do, and they are the best marketing tool ever because you can track what people are interested in. And I get additional work, but just by tracking a particular customer has been interested in a particular article, and I then contact him and say, I see you're interested, and work comes. So there's many ways of doing it, I think.
Are you using Twitter or Facebook for marketing?
I use them for communication, for contact. I haven't specifically gone out and say, hey, Mike's available for this or whatever as a specific marketing tool. However, for me, there's also a certain level, there's a fan base. And so you asked this, I just went upstairs and tweeted and did my Facebook update for fans, for people. And some of those fans are clients. And I think that what happens there, the great thing about that, regardless of whether you're specifically marketing or you're generally keeping in touch, is you want to create motion and the appearance that your career and things are happening. Absolutely. You want to create that sort of like, wow, this guy's doing this and this, or she's doing that and whatever, you know.
Okay. Everybody here, I think, uses networking and cooperating in order to get in contact with customers. Roger, how do you do that? How do you do networking and cooperating, and what are the requirements in order to be successful in that?
I guess the one thing you need before you start networking is to get, I was going to say your elevator speech, but it's not an elevator speech, it's probably a blink speech. You've got to be able to say what you do for that guy who's talking to you instantly. I mean, in my case, I say, I improve the profitable growth of businesses. That's it. I think the second thing you need to have before you start networking is to keep your mouth shut. You are there to ask other people questions and to listen to them only when they come to you and say, well, what do you do? Then you say a bit, but not before. And otherwise, you've blown it.
It's a great point, and so doggone difficult for speakers.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We want to talk. Hello. You know.
The best question I have learned to ask is, how can I help you?
Exactly.
Not so much, here's what I do.
Exactly.
What would you like to buy? It's how can I help you? And oftentimes they go, and then that opens up a whole lot of other avenues to go down.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I genuinely go with the idea of serving, and then possibly maybe we'll have some interaction where I might benefit. But you know what? If you go there with the attitude of service and trying to help in some way, it really does reap rewards.
Sure.
And it's go ahead, jump in.
I was just going to say just one thing that just infuriates me when you're talking to someone is if they start looking over your shoulder, you know, when they're networking, because they're looking for the next guy to talk to, and you think...
Yeah, well, and the other thing that I would say about that is when it comes to, for instance, my presentation is pretty stock. I mean, it's not. I apply it to absolutely everyone, but it's pretty much the same thing. I'm not going to go in there and say, I can incorporate this need and that need and reply to whatever. However, they still need to know that you're not mailing it in. They still need to know how can I be of service, even within the context. If you're a speaker who has a one speech, I mean, there's different types of speakers have different, some 40 programs, mine's one or two. And so you still need to go in with that attitude of service and then find out how that fits into the thing that I do.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so right.
We are all here at the GSA convention, and you all contributed. Thank you for this.
Our pleasure.
But you all attended as well. Lindsay, you have visited many associations and conventions. What is your learning strategy if you go to such an event and learn to be better and to speak better?
Do we have a learning strategy?
Well,
that's a good term.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because when I went to my very first convention, I attended absolutely every session. I took thousands of notes and pages of stuff, and I had to be there. You know what? These days, I've been to so many conventions now, and I get a little more choosy these days, and I think about, okay, what have I come for, and what's the issue that I want to work on for me and my business? Now, is it to see a Mike Rayburn and go, wow, okay, how does he command the room? Yeah. And how could I command the room in my presentation? Now, Mike plays the guitar, I don't. However, I watched him very carefully this morning to see, what he did and how he related to the audience and how he used the tool to connect with us.
Whether he really was playing.
Well, I'm sure there was a tape.
I'm sure there was.
But so I get really clear, focused in about what's the learning for me, and I try to take home one or two just good pieces of learning. And already I've collected 2 brilliant ideas just in the last 24 hours here in Mannheim.
So focusing and selecting
Yeah.
is the strategy.
I had somebody once told me, if you can go to a conference and you take lots of notes, like you said, and you hear all these different presentations and ideas and things, if you go home and say, choose one idea and implement that one, no matter whatever else you do, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Make this happen, then you will benefit from it.
Absolutely.
Because most of us don't. We take those notes, we go, oh, wow, this is great, and we stick them in a drawer and they stay there.
So do you learn more at the German convention as foreigners, as people from abroad, or do you learn more from people working in the same area? Same
Oh,
country?
no, not at all. It's, if I may, I've been to each of the global summits, as probably you have as well, Lindsay, where speakers are there from everywhere, and you just learn from